trying to get that revenue, dropping hotlines. I was really posted on the block just like a stop sign.
Say, what's cracking, YouTube? It's your boy 16 to life, and I'm back like I'm on a parole violation. Yard down! Now, for those of y'all that's new to my page, in 1994, I got arrested. I was eventually sentenced to 16 years plus life, and I served 24 years straight. If you like the video, hit that like button, man. Hit that notification bell. That way, anytime I drop a video, you'll be notified ASAP. And you can hop in it whenever you can hop on it whenever you're ready, man. Let's hop right up into this video right here, man. So apparently yesterday, the professional boxer Ryan Garcia, he goes on a racist rant. He's on live stream with somebody, I believe some dude by the name of Sneeko. I'm not quite familiar with who that dude was, but regardless of who he was talking to, he's on a racial rant, man. This dude is often and frequently using the N-word, sometimes with the hard ER. He says a lot of, horrific racial things, to be point blank, man. It's no other way around it, right? Now, in my opinion, he was not sober. I don't know if he was high. I don't know if he was drunk. But in my opinion, he definitely was on some type of substance, right? But regardless of that, that still does not excuse the things that he said. Because in my opinion, the things that he said are definitely the way that he feels, I just don't necessarily believe alcohol can put something in a person that's not already in you to a certain degree. Case in point, right? So if I happen to go get drunk, no matter how drunk I may get, or no matter how high I get, I'm not going to say, you know what? I feel like going down here. Matter of fact, I'm going to drive to my mom's house and I'm going to punch her in her face, knock her down and kick her in her face, because I disagree with doing those things. So there was nothing that would make me even utter things like that, because I totally disagree with them. I'm not a person that has been drunk too many times often. So, a lot of people like to say that a drunk tongue speaks a sober mind or something along those lines. Now, I don't necessarily know, because I haven't got drunk often, but I do know that, there's no type of alcohol or substance that's going to put something in you that's not already in you. That's how I feel. I'm not going to suddenly get super drunk and all of a sudden start talking about, I want to go have a relationship that's not with a woman. You know what I'm trying to say? All of a sudden I want to try another type of relationship. That's not who I am. So those things are not going to come out of my mouth, is basically what I'm trying to say. So what I'm trying to say is, if those things are coming out of Ryan Garcia's mouth, then they definitely have to be something that he is feeling, And in my opinion, man, there's no other way around it, He goes on to say, I don't know if I mentioned this, he called Michael B. Jordan, the actor, the N-word with the hard ER, He says, and he says F Muslims. Now, he doesn't say F all Muslims. He says F Muslims who have tendencies to do things to let me see how I want to try to word this so YouTube doesn't flag it. Who want to have their way with non-consensual young women or young children or whatever. So, he goes on to say a whole bunch of things, right? And in my opinion, somewhere at some point in time, right? And I don't like to use the term black. I definitely don't like to use the term African American, but I do use the term black often because it's just something that's more accepted, right? I like the term of African descent, but then of course, you use certain terms. You have dudes who want to come on here and debate with you about the correct term to use and get into the history of this and get into the history of that. And quite frankly, that's really not what my channel was about. So I'll go with the more accepted term of black, right? But somewhere along the lines, I feel that a certain black generation, they dropped the ball in terms of letting other races use the N-word around them, even if it's just the N-I-G-G-A, because what that does is it gives power to those people using that word in terms of making them think that it's okay with using that word as long as I don't use the ER, and they could become comfortable with using that word more frequently, whether it's rapping, singing songs in the presence of people of African descent or black people, And let me give you first a little what I understand to be the history of that word. So initially, right, when you had the slave trade going on, you had a lot of people of African descent or Africans in America. You might have white people, you might have slave owners say, okay, yeah, we got those Nigers over there. You know, Niger is a country in West Africa. For those who may not know that, not to be confused with Nigeria. So anyway, you would have people say, okay, yeah, those Nigers over there, you know, because it was just really being used as a general term for people who was from the country of Niger, right? Then at some point, they started using the word, you know, they started to denigrate people from that area, and the term became basically a derogatory slur, and then it morphed into what it is today, right? So I don't even understand. I think, and I mentioned this in another video, how you would have people want to take that term, people, of course, who are not of African descent, they want to take a term that's definitely known as one of the vilest, if not the vilest term to refer to a person as, and start referring to themselves as that term. You know, I don't know if they feel it makes them cool among black people or whatever, but like I said, I feel a certain generation that started allowing that and permitting that definitely dropped the ball. Let me expound a little bit deeper, right? And I know that if you did not grow up in the era that I grew up in, you may not be able to understand this, right? Because with each generation, I believe that Black pride was not passed on to each generation, and it became less important to each generation, right? And so I was born in 1971. So, you know, when I'm growing up, I'm not seeing Black people on TV. You know, I'm not seeing Black people in the movies nowhere near to the degree that you see it today. So when I'm growing up, they had a couple of Black shows, Sanford and Son, Good Times, The Jeffersons, and these shows were spread out and they were few and far in between. And so when you would see someone that looked like yourself when you were Black in the age that I grew up in, it definitely was a good thing to see, because it was extremely unusual, right? And so nowadays, when you have a lot of Black TV shows, you know, I don't believe that I'm wrong when I say that you have the Black culture highly emulated, highly emulated due to entertainers, due to sports figures, so on and so forth, due to music or whatever. You know, you have Crips and Bloods way over in Japan. You know, you have people rapping over in Denmark, and just, the culture that is associated with Blacks is highly emulated. And I believe that everybody can agree to that. You know, nowadays you have women getting surgeries to try to obtain the features that Black women have, and to try to obtain the features that their grandmothers years and years before would mock Black women for having. You know, it has been a definitely role reversal in that department, right? And so for the generation who did not grow up, having to deal with as much hostility, racial prejudiceness, and so on and so forth. So they definitely don't see the wrong aspect of allowing people who are not of African descent to say the N-word. In my era, that was extremely, extremely disrespectful. It was extremely disrespectful, and to be quite frank, it was something that was not allowed and permitted. Those were fighting words. Anytime and every time you would hear someone outside of that race use that word, because it was extremely disrespectful. Of course, like I said, by me being born in the 70s, I definitely didn't know anything about the struggle that people who were born in the 60s, the 50s, the 40s, so on and so forth went on. So, I believe with each generation, people just care less and have less racial pride. I don't believe there's anything wrong with racial pride. I believe that every race should be proud of who they are and where they are from, and so on and so forth, their ancestors, their history. But it's a big difference between having racial pride and being a racist or being prejudiced against another individual strictly due to his color, right? And so yeah, in my opinion, man, somewhere along those lines, people who were of African descent started allowing or not caring if other races use that term. And this is how we get to where we are, in my opinion, part of the reason with Ryan Garcia, because had he got punched in his mouth from the very first time he said that word in the presence of a person who was black, whether win or lose, he would have known that was okay. It was not okay. Had he been, every time he used that word, had he got punched in his mouth, he would have not thought it was cool, to come on a live stream and use that word so frequently, right? And so, and I'm definitely not advocating violence, right? Because now in this day and age, I realize, that's of course something that you can't do. Now, had you caught me 10, 15 years ago, oh yeah, most definitely. And maybe even today, if a person says it to me in a certain type of way, right? Don't, and I understand, right? A lot of people may want to say, well, hey, chill, that word, like any other word, is protected by freedom of speech, which it most definitely is. But it's not. Don't confuse freedom of speech with freedom of consequence, because a person can say that word at their job, and while it's not a crime to use that word, to use the N word with the hard ER, whatever, your employer may feel that is a word unfit for his work environment, and he can fire you, and you can't go back and sue that dude because that word is protected by the freedom of speech. So don't confuse that. It's not protected by freedom of consequence. And that also brings us to let me go a little further before I make that point, right? So with Ryan Garcia, using this word, ranting and raving, saying all these horrible things, to me, like I said, it's just a window into his soul, into how he really thinks. I know not too long ago, there was a press conference between, I believe it was Devin Haney's father and Ryan Garcia's father. And Ryan Garcia Sr. Referred to Devin Haney as nappy-headed, which is also definitely a way to degrade black people, right? And so, just imagine black people or people of any ethnicity using using a vile and disgraceful slur that we can call other races to refer to themselves in that manner. I definitely don't think that it's something that would be accepted by whatever ethnicity that the racial slur being used by other races was directed at and created to denigrate, right? And so to me, that's just crazy how people would even want to do that. They would want to refer to themselves in a racial derogatory term, but that's the world that we're living in today, man. And so, for those out there who may not be familiar with Ryan Garcia, he's a boxer, and he had a pro match not too long ago where he fought Devin Haney, and he defeated Devin Haney, knocked him down a couple of times, but then later on it came out through drug testing that he tested positive for banned substances. And so I believe the name of the substance was Osterine. And basically what Osterine does is it helps with fat loss. It also helps with muscle mass. It also helps with increased stamina and speed and let me see what else I got here. And it also helps with stamina recovery. Yeah, stamina recovery, and so basically it is a substance that's banned. And so after a little haggling back and forth, Ryan Garcia agreed to take a 1-year ban from boxing due to testing positive for this banned substance. Due to that rant he just went on, though, yesterday, the WBC, the World Boxing Council, the president, Mauricio Suleiman, has gave him a lifetime ban from boxing under the World Boxing Council organization, the WBC. So it has, unless it's happened in the last 10, 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes or whatever, it has yet to be seen what steps the other boxing organizations will take, right? And so Now, that in my opinion, that it also brings to the forefront, is a discussion necessary? Is this also a word that black people as well should stop using? Because to keep it 100, like I always do, I definitely use the word when sometimes talking to my friends, talking to other people who are of African descent. I will never, or at least I try my hardest to never use that word in the presence of anyone who is not black, right? And you have a lot of black people who disagree with using that word whatsoever. So, as hip hop music has become extremely popular and the usage of that word is used frequently in songs and stuff, of course, because I don't know if people realize, right? 70% or a little bit more of hip hop is purchased by people who are not black, so hip hop is supported by whites, Hispanics, Asians. They're the ones who are making all these rappers go platinum and double platinum and triple platinum and stuff. So they definitely embrace our culture. And so when they hear this word used frequently throughout these songs, at some point in time, if they happen to like the song, then they want to sing these songs and they want to use these words. And when the black people or their black friends in their circle feel that it's okay, then, like I say, once again, that's how we arrive, or at least that's how it's a contribution to arrive at this situation that we are with Ryan Garcia, right? So I said all that to say, is it time that blacks start having a conversation of eliminating the use of that word, And to be honest and to keep it real, I know they're not, that's just the, you're not going to be able to get all the blacks in America to stop using that word, man. So, but as long as it seems like blacks don't care, then this situation will go on and go on and go on. Also, I'm wondering, so now, because Ryan Garcia, he has a lot of blacks in his corner, a lot of blacks who he did business dealings with. Actually, the trainer for his last fight is a dude by the name of Derrick James, right? And so now I'm wondering that all these dudes who have business ties, association with these dudes who even consider this dude a friend, are they gonna break ties with this dude? And that's something that remains to be seen. In my opinion, man, there are some things that financial compensation cannot be put on top of. Basically, man, that and I'm not calling for a ban or a boycott of this dude right here. I'm just wondering if the black dudes in this dude's life are going to see this dude for what he is, and are they going to disassociate themselves from him, or are they going to say, oh man, this dude was high and he wasn't in his right mind, and as long as he can continue to financially enhance my life, I'll rock with this dude and pretend stuff like that didn't happen. At some point in time, man, I believe that we have to have enough racial pride, man, to call those type of dudes for who they are, man, and stop associating with them dudes, man. Stop letting those dudes feel that it's okay to disrespect us as a people. Anyway, you already know what it is. It's your boy 16 to life. Resume normal program.
I was a kid myself, they never gave me therapy. Made me wanna scream and go to war just like a Cherokee.